Okay, good morning, everybody. Agenda review. Looking at the agenda for next Wednesday, April the 23rd. Manager Stoltz, take it away.
Morning, Chairman of the Commission. Nicole, what are we going to start with?
Good morning, everyone. For good news, EMS is being highlighted at the Wichita State University Ulrich Museum in a pop-up art exhibition that's going on April 15th, or starting April 15th and goes to the end of the month. And so I will talk a little bit about that. And also, Sedgwick County is hosting a job fair on April 30th, and that's all I have.
We have on the regular agenda, we have two proclamations. Number one is a proclamation declaring Day of Student Success, and the other is proclamation declaring Drug Endangered Children's Day. On appointments, there are three, D and E. D is a resignation from Riverside Township, and E is an appointment to Riverside Township that Justin will cover. And then item F is a IDD advisory board appointment by Commissioner Wise. Under new business, we'll have project search graduation recognition. We do that annually. That will take a little bit. And then, Chairman, on this, just looking at these items, we're going to want photos there too. So I don't know how you want to, you might think about how you want to manage you got a couple of proclamations and you've got this item on the agenda. I don't know if we want to consider maybe bringing people in a bit early and doing photos before the meeting starts. Once the meeting goes, then people could do, or what we could do to expedite that.
Sure. Open to thoughts from everybody. I mean, how project search graduation recognition, does that need to be a new business item? I mean,
Yeah, that's a good question. That's how we historically.
I remember this is how we've always done it. What's that? I mean, the challenge is we have the proclamation. We're going to have multiple appointments. We want to be cognizant of people's time.
And Chairman, I think if you wanted to, if during the meeting, you could certainly take that item out of order. If you wanted to take it up after proclamations, I think that could make sense as well.
Emma, you think that's okay to Tom? Anybody any objection to doing that? Emma?
So we'll go into new business. We'll go into new business and then step back on that.
My only concern is the resolutions for the township positions. You'll just take about 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Both of those. You're gonna make this guy wait another half an hour just to get 1 minute's worth of business done. So I don't know. I think it's fine the way it is, actually.
Okay.
You can move that up so it's above new business if you like, but I don't think it changes the order of anything.
Okay. All right, we'll figure it out when we get there. Okay.
We'll talk between now and then. Item H is a zone change request. That's here. If there's any questions on in District 2, to go from a single family residential to TF3 2-family residential.
Scott, are you briefing on that today? I think, okay.
I'll see you all later. I don't know if you want to talk now, but item I and J are island annexations that Samantha will cover. One is for Clearwater and the other is for City of Wichita. Item K, we will have Jason Watkins and Jessica present at the meeting. They'll be in person, right, Tanya? And we will give the summary conclusion of the 2025 legislative session. And they will give a scorecard basically of how we did and what we have to work on for next year. Item L is a consideration of a settlement agreement for the sheriff's office. Item M is bid board, and there are 7 items on bid board. We did take one item off, and I think I sent an email to you all, and Joe had sent it out a couple of times, but the 7 items, if there's any questions, I'll quickly zip over what those look like. Item 1 is the left turn improvement for Charlotte Pipe on 119th. It's a public works ask. Item 2 is Nova Chip acquisition for public works. Item 3 is architecture and engineering services for EMS Post 1. Item 4 is a forensic advantage maintenance system for the Regional Forensic Science Center. Item 5 is text message recruiting and scheduling solution for all departments. It's a ERP ask from IT. Item 6 is page didn't go in here. Item 6 is a vehicle for public works, crew cab truck. And then item 7 is a 1-ton 4-wheel drive crew cab truck for public works. So 2 vehicle asset at the end. Any questions on any of those?
Yes, on the EMS post, are we going to be briefed on the details? I know that was just a proposal, I think, for the architecture selection. Is that right?
Yes.
Will we be discussing the actual project more? Okay. or
You
can I
want to
get
address
briefed
that,
on
Tanya, on how we're going to, let's summarize real quickly on EMS post 1, where we're at as far as what the commission has approved going forward, what we're going to build, where it's going to be, and Rusty's not here, so we'll carry this, but
Sure, I can, so I'm not gonna get the location exact. It's on 13th Street, and I think by Sheridan is the location with the EMS post. Currently, I think they're working out of the Stillwell location, and prior to that, they were at the Riverside Hospital. When they were at Riverside Hospital, that was basically they were in that location. We didn't have a lease in that location. So what happened was there was some utility issues at that location that were causing them to, there were some water issues. So they needed to leave that location basically, just because of what was happening with utilities. So they left that location, went to Stillwell, no longer at the Riverside Hospital. So we needed to find a location for them to have this post, and they found that location at 13th and Sheridan. We have purchased the land for that post, and now we're getting into the design. So what we put out was an RFP for design, and that's what's on bid board. Once the design is complete, then we will go out for bids for. So that's where we're at, and we're happy to come around and show you kind of what the schematic design is for this EMS post.
Yeah.
Tanya, is it fair that we're building this station? The last EMS post we built historically was one on Webb. Is this going to be a very similar architectural design? So commissioner could go look at that perhaps?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. It is almost exact. I think the only difference may be that instead of one office, I think they're building 2 offices. I think that would be literally the only difference to that.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we're happy to come around and provide briefings in further detail. I don't have anything on me, so I can't, you know.
Okay.
One thing,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
that's okay. Go ahead.
Well, one thing that, first of all, I think the starting point would be to look at the EMS post on Webb Road, which is up by Jabbar. That's going to be a very similar build. And we have changed how we built EMS posts historically, which is more of a, how do I say it, prefab metal
Yeah,
or
that's right.
rather than the basic brick and mortar. And it's much more cost effective to do it that way. But also just on projects in general, I think that project services will be in on commission, not just on an EMS build, but on what we're doing of all these projects that we have going with in buildings. You will see us much more in a staff setting, giving you updates on progress and letting you see design, and even down to when it gets to here's the kind of furniture we're going to be buying. So the commission's aware before you go cut the ribbon what these projects looks like before you get down there. So just thematically, we're going to change how we do that in the future. And on this particular post, we'd be glad to do that too. So
No, I'd appreciate it. I was just looking at the details of that design, and I didn't know if the additional bay was just for a normal vehicle or if it's something that if we needed to put another EMS, an ambulance in it. I think there was another bay. There's 2 for ambulances and 1 for just a regular vehicle.
Chief Reinerman is on if we need to
Yeah.
reference anything from him. So
Yeah, I might have Chief speak to that because Lindsay just indicated there was a 3rd bay, and I wasn't aware of that. So I might have Chief.
the chief.
Yes. Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is correct. 2 bays for ambulances. As we expand, we wanted 2 bays, 1 for at least a full-time ambulance, because the full-time ambulance, the 24-hour ambulance that was at Riverside is running out of our Stillwell facility, along with a 12-hour truck here. That's they're both housed out of here with and the crew quarters here at Stillwell's was never intended for any full-time quarters here. So the thought is moving a full-time truck and then have an expansion for a 12-hour truck there, And then as we expand another, if there's room, we don't know until we get in the design phase, if there's room for another smaller garage for one of our district chief vehicles to house one of our district chiefs at that facility too, because that would be a good location with good access for them also.
Is that third one that you'd put the chief's vehicle in, could it be another ambulance bay at any point, or would it be designed as such, or is it just anticipating that being more of a, I don't know, a central hub, I guess, for?
It's going to be designed that, and that's why we wanted a second office, a separate office in that facility. The post, and we can show you the one up on web, only has one office. So having a supervisor, just district chief in there, the possibility we wanted a separate office because they often need a separate office for some of the things they need to do. They need that privacy of a second office. So that's what that second office is for, the district chief, and that's what an extra garage would be for also.
Okay.
The chief, so the third bay is not for an ambulance, so correct?
No, it would be smaller to fit our district chief vehicles.
Okay. Well, I'll go drive by that Webbins bar if that's the newest constructed one. So I think that was my only question though.
And like I think Tanya said, if anybody wants to, we'd be happy to go up there and show you and kind of explain what our thoughts are with the new facility. But it'd be very similar to that, the type of building that's up there on Webb Road.
Okay, yeah, I'd like that if I could go and actually visit. Yeah. Okay,
Absolutely.
we'll get that scheduled then.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
To follow up on that, the web was done, I think, right as I was coming on or right before. Didn't that, and maybe Commissioner Howe, you guys might recall, didn't you guys have a budget and then you kind of redefined that and made it
I'm trying to remember.
efficient or?
Yeah, we've had a significant shift on post building.
Some kind
I'm
of
trying to
shift.
remember if it was in the timing of that build or even predates that. I think that might have been the first post that we built under the new guidelines, so to
It
speak.
is. We had a direction from the assistant county manager at that time that asked us to kind of relook at how we're doing EMS posts. And so we did shift, and there was some significant savings on how we did EMS posts.
That was my recollection. So that's probably, if that's still, Kevin, how you feel is a good model, then I think it's really good for you to look at.
Absolutely. And that post, we can show you, but that post is a nice post. It fits our needs very well. And like I said, I know I wasn't obviously in this position when that post was built, but my understanding is it was pretty significant savings to the county building it that way. And so, yeah, we're fine with moving forward with that type of facility.
Any other bid board questions?
I completely agree. In fact, I think that the early estimates were, I'm going to guess about $1.5 million more. So we saved significant funding. And it is a nice building.
Yes.
And I think we should follow that model.
And it's holding up well. I mean, it's, what is that, 5, 6, 7 years ago now, and it's holding up. So
But my only follow-up on that is there was discussion about a barrier of ingress egress over there that we had to get to. That's all worked out. And
Yes, that is. Andrew looked that through and we're good. I think we have 2 drives now.
that's great. Okay.
Yep, that's all.
Any other questions on any of the bid board items? There's 7 total.
takes us to consent. Items N, O, and P are all easements of one way or another. Item N is a construction easement for bridge channel. There's no fiscal note to that. Item O is a construction easement for right of way on shoulder on the North Ridge Road project between 69th and 85th North. There is a $7,600 fiscal note to that. And item P is a right-of-way easement for stream maintenance project. Then there's a $3,690 fiscal note to that. Items Q and R are vacation requests. One is for an access control on North Oliver to permit a driveway, I believe. I don't know if Scott wants to talk on this or not, to permit a driveway on a proposed new lot. And item R is a vacation request for an unused easement up at 77th North and East 135th for future development, I would assume for either for the county or Park City. So those are those two vacation requests. Scott, anything different on that? Okay. Item S is a resolution to establish a four-way stop at 4th Street and 167th. That is, 167th is also called Colwich Road. So that's where we have a fairly significant housing addition going in on the northeast corner of that intersection. So I think Lynn is, traffic engineering has determined there's been enough documentable problems at that intersection to justify the four-way stops.
Just to verify, that's at Central.
Yeah.
4th Street. Central.
Yeah, Central is at 4th and 167th is Colwich Road.
So do you mind if I ask? It's not my district, but I'm just curious. It's 4 stop signs. I mean,
Yes, currently it's a two-way stop, and it'll be all four-way stop, when we're done with
and
it.
will this be the only 4-way stop until you get to 21st Street off 167?
I believe it is. Yes.
I mean,
Um,
yellow.
and most of the push on this one was the increased traffic
Oh,
of the,
Or just since we're on this topic, are we kind of getting over some of those issues at Maple and 167th with the school traffic and stuff? I know I got called a couple of years ago and went out there in the morning and there's people passing in the ditch and everything else. It's kind of a mess over there in the
Well,
morning.
I'm asking too, sorry to, because that's a signal intersection.
correct.
And I think about, I mean, there was a sheriff's deputy killed at 135th and the center 160 or 135th and
29th.
29. The way this traffic flows over there, just to throw up 4 stop signs. I mean, you're the county engineer and I trust your judgment, but I remember the conversation at 21st, 167th about why lit sign, why 4, and that people get so accustomed to going. And I'm also seeing at 45th in my district, 45th Street in Tyler, when they put 4 stop signs up and people blowing through that intersection all the time. I'm just kind of curious. This is likely the right move. I'm just understanding the logic. It's a road I travel daily.
Anytime you take and put a stop sign up on a route that has always been a through road, you are going to have situations where people aren't paying attention. What we do is we go ahead and put temporary signs up, flags on top of those signs to alert people. We put up what we call dynamic message boards to let them know. We leave them up for a few weeks. Even after the dynamic message boards are gone, we still have the advanced warning signs and the flags up. And then just to get people used to the idea and going through that. And again, I believe we also worked with Mays on 45th and Tyler and gave them some advice on proceeding, and they did the same thing. Yet when that's been almost a year now, and every once in a while you still have people just not paying
Well, you
attention.
answered it is just not throwing stop signs up. There's going to be some
Correct.
awareness things
Right.
happening.
We do
Train
that in
people.
every situation.
Very good one. Thanks.
Lynn, maybe we could give it on the side, you give an update to me and Commissioner Wise, maybe on the 167th and Maple.
Sure.
I'm probably the only one that believes this, but I think that when people get in kind of a daze as they're driving along, you want to wake them up. The most effective thing is rumble strips. So we are against them. It's not recommended. They're inexpensive and they're very effective. And if you want to wake people up, rumble strips is always a really great way to keep people from doing that, missing a stop sign. I know we're not going to do that in Sedgwick County, but if I was empowered to make the decision independently, I know what I would do. Thank you.
That was helpful analysis, Lynn. I appreciate that. Sure.
Item T is a large event application for the annual Wichita Gladiator Dash at Sedgwick County Park by the CAC, Child Advocacy Center. Item U. Commissioner Meister, you want to apply for that or? Okay. Item U and V these are similar, and I'll try this and Tim can save me if I screw it up. But essentially, the IDD or Aging is Funding has a partner in what has been called A2Z Helping Hands, and they have merged with Guardian Home. So this is contractual change, as simple as that. Cosmetic, U and V. W is a donation acceptance from Marriott to ComCare for some furnishings. And Item X is reallocation of certain positions within the Regional Forensic Science Center, just to make sure that we are matching up employees that work under the auspice of a grant. And that balance between what we fund with a grant, what we fund with general fund, that it is accurate and defendable. So that's the change that we are implementing in item X. And the rest is just routine business. There is no fire agenda. And I believe we have an executive session.
Okay. Two quick things on item W. Can we get a letter from the commission to thank this representative from Marriott? Get something drafted and we'll sign it. I think that'd be helpful. I don't know who does that. We've signed those things in the past, but I think it'd be.
Okay. Are they all the way down at the end of the table? Okay.
That's a lot of things they're donating to ComCare. So I want to make sure that the commission recognizes them and gives them an official letter of thanks. The other thing, legislative issues is no longer a permanent. So this can be removed. I saw the calendar invite was deleted. So we can remove legislative issues moving forward. It's kind of a relief, isn't it, Tanya?
Good catch. We'll have that taken off.
Yeah, happy day indeed. Okay, commissioners, any questions on the agenda for next Wednesday?
We have any updates on federal grants issue?
You guys met today, right, Lindsay?
You want to speak to anything, Tim?
We didn't have any formal, no department was identified of any formal reductions this past week. We've got some things that may be on the horizon that we're starting to get some information on, but nothing formal for any of the departments.
Has there been actions on other grants before today? And we had something happen before. As of right now, we just have some things we're looking at that might happen, but is there anything that's already happened?
Just the two that I had talked about at the BOCC meeting last week are the only two formal ones.
Thank you.
Can I just add as well on that topic? Seems like I've heard twice, maybe this week, on either the radio or I don't think it was TV, that they referenced potential grant impacts on personnel at Sedgwick County. And so I think I think it's incredibly good that we're talking about the grant stuff, but we need to make sure that we're accurate as can be, or if we think potentially it could have this or that, let's make sure that we are.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really important to distinguish between what has actually been announced by either a state agency and a pass through of the feds versus speculation about things that may be coming.
Right. Because we can't trust we can't control what the media says about their interpretation. So let's just be conscious that we're
Where we're in. I will tell you, Nicole has developed a nice one-sheeter that we're just putting the final ink on, and we'll pass that all to commissioners so that you have a speaking platform if you're asked about this in public.
And I might just add, we have our community resource page conversation starting today. So we'll be standing that up. If you all, I know in individual conversations, some of you have mentioned some resources to me that you're interested in making sure the community is aware of. So please let Nicole or me know what those are. We'll make sure to get those listed because we are hoping to get that one pager that Tom referenced plus this community resource page stood up fairly quickly. I've already had several media folks reach out and ask for that content. There are actually some suggestions made on a phone call with a reporter yesterday that were pretty helpful about maybe what to include, a running list of what grants we have and some other things. So even though we have that out there now, maybe distilling some of that information down. We do have a template that we're going to start having departments fill out that's going to include all of the financial impact, how many positions could be affected. To clarify on that first episode psychosis grant that did have employees. That grant was terminated. That is now being paid for by ComCare revenue funds. We have asked Joan to be prepared to have those kinds of conversations with you because they're being treated uniquely because they have a funding source. So we'll talk about that in your budget hearings in May too. So there could have been some impacts to positions, but for having a different revenue source. So there is some accuracy to that conversation. It's just this commission has given some flexibility to allow ComCare to handle that in the short term. And so there will still be quite a bit of conversation to be had. We're still developing that risk assessment. We're going to use a lot of resources around to build that. So there's lots more to come. We're just in the very, very early stages. So even though you're not hearing a lot right this second, I think it will pick up soon.
Okay. Anything else on the agenda? Yeah. Have a great Easter weekend, everybody. See you next week.